Hello everyone, my name is Iruni Agathagalo and I am one of the therapists here at Stabilis Treatment Center. Today I'm going to be talking about a very interesting and important topic. This topic comes up almost every day within my sessions with my patients, and this is the relationship between the addict and their loved ones. Now, normally when a patient comes into Stabilis and they're in my office and I bring up the topic about their relationship with their loved ones, whether it be their parents, their siblings, their partner, husband or wife, normally when that topic comes up, it's quite a sensitive topic for the addict. As you can imagine, through addiction, many of their relationships, specifically with their loved ones, were quite severely damaged. So in order for me to create a level of understanding with my patients and for them to almost understand why the relationship is damaged, is I use the example of, we call this example the parent, the adult, and the child. So I'm going to be using that example today. Now, normally when my patient explains the relationship that they have with their loved ones, something that is often said is they treat me like a child. Often they treat me like a child. They do not treat me like an adult. And I agree with them. I say, yes, I can only imagine why. And then this, in order for me to formulate, help them understand why this is so, as I say, I use the example of the parent, the adult, and the child. So what is this example and how does it work? So when I ask my patients in group therapy, I ask them, and I do this activity with them, I ask them, give me characteristics of a child. Of a naughty child, give me characteristics of a child. And just to give you a few examples of what normally comes up is they say a naughty child can be childish. Yes. They can be manipulative and impulsive, very impulsive. They can be quite irresponsible. They're very dependent on their family or their parents. And I don't know if you can agree with me, but they never think about the consequences of their actions. Okay, so those are a few examples or characteristics that my patients give me when I ask them to give me characteristics of a naughty child. So it's childish, manipulative, impulsive, irresponsible, very dependent, and do not think of consequences. And I write this down on the board for them. And as you can see on the slide, then I switch over and I ask them, okay, give me characteristics of the parent of this child, the parent of this naughty child. Give me characteristics of this parent. And then they think about it in group therapy, and then they give me these examples. So the characteristics of this type of parents, the most common answers would be they are extremely strict. They're very strict. They're overprotective, so they're always there. We refer to this as the helicopter parent because they're always there hovering over the child. Then they also say they always know-it-alls. They always know what's best. They're always giving instruction. Do it like this, do it like that. So they know-it-alls. Then they are extremely suspicious. So what are they doing over there in the corner? What are they doing over there? So they can be very suspicious. Then they're extremely harsh. They say that's a word that comes up a lot. They're very harsh. Very strict, very harsh, set in their ways. Then they also said that they could only imagine that this parent is extremely tired, very low energy, not motivated, always down, very tired. And then the last one, the one that normally comes up, is they're extremely impatient. There's just zero patience when it comes to this type of parent. And as they're saying this, I'm sort of nodding my head saying, yes, exactly. And of course, they mention so many more examples. I'm just giving you a few. So just to sum up, the characteristics they give of a parent is they're very strict, they're overly protective, they're know-it-alls, very suspicious, very harsh on the child, always tired, demotivated, and very impatient. There is no patience. So I say, okay, and I write these examples on the board, and as you can see on the slides. Then I ask them one more example. And the thing that I ask them is, if you think about an ideal adult, a very respectable adult, an adult that you would like to be, somebody that you would look up to, give me characteristics of this type of adult. And some of the most common answers of the characteristics of a respectable adult is responsible. They're very responsible. They are respected, very respectable. They're independent, so they go on about their day. They do not need assistance from many people. They can do things themselves, very independent. They think things through, so they, unlike the child, they think about the consequences of their actions. They sit, they plan things through in order to eliminate any shortcomings. Okay, they're go-getters. So they, as I say, they make these plans, they think things through, but they're very motivated. They're go-getters. They set goals, they achieve goals, they put their mind to setting the goals. They can be trusted. So an ideal, responsible adult, one that you can look up to, is normally somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can entrust many things on. So the ideal adult is somebody that you can trust and that can be trusted. And they are reliable. This goes hand in hand with trust. So if they say they're going to do something, you can expect them to do it because it will most likely be done. So they are reliable. And as they give me these examples, again, I'm nodding my head and I say, exactly. So just to sum up, I would write all these answers on the board, and as you can see as well on the slide, they are responsible, they are respected, they are independent, they think things through, they think about the consequences, they are go-getters, they set goals and achieve it, they can be trusted, and they are extremely reliable. So that is the characteristics of an ideal adult. So as you can see, I've summarized the characteristics of a child, the characteristic of a parent, and the characteristic of an ideal adult. And this is where the curveball comes in. I tell them to look at these characteristics. I tell the patients in group therapy, look at these characteristics, okay, of the child, the parent, and the adult. And then I ask them, and I tell them to be honest. I ask them, which of these three are the characteristics of an addict? And I tell them, look at these characteristics, and honestly, what are the characteristics of an addict? And the answer is a child. So the characteristics out of these three that were mentioned that most resemble the characteristics of an addict is that of a child. They can be childish, they can be very manipulative, they can be impulsive, so they don't think things through. That instant gratification, if they want something, they want it now. They can be very irresponsible. They become dependent. They become extremely dependent on the substance. They don't think the consequences of their actions. They don't think about the consequences of their actions. That goes hand in hand with that immediate gratification. They do something very impulsive. They want it now. In order to do it, they can be very manipulative. They can lie and manipulate, and they don't think about the consequences. And as I explain this to them, they sort of have this realization of, yes, oh my goodness, these are the characteristics of an addict. An addict and a child are very hand in hand. And then I say, so how would you expect your family to react to those certain characteristics? How would you expect your family to react? The family picks up the characteristics of a parent. Because if you act like a child, I will parent you. So, and this comes in, remember I said previously that my patients will sit and say, my family treats me like a child. And this is why. I say, if you act like a child, your family will parent you. They will act like the parent. Take a relationship, for example. Say now the husband becomes an addict and they start showing characteristics of a child. I always explain, you create or you cause your wife to start acting like a parent. You cause the shift. So instead of your wife treating you like an adult, she will start treating you like a child because you are acting like a child. So this is the example that I use just to formulate a level of understanding. It's not the intent, the family member's intent. You must always think about the intent. Is the intent malicious when they're trying to stop you to use substance? Is their intent malicious, or do they want to try and help you? So many times the patients in the group therapy say, okay, but now what? I want them to treat me like an adult. And I say, yes, of course. But then you need to stop acting like a child. So through rehabilitation, and as the patient starts to rehabilitate, slowly but surely they start showing characteristics of an adult again. They start becoming more responsible. As they become more responsible, they start to become more respected. They start earning a lot more respect. They start becoming a lot more independent. They start doing things without needing to rely on the substance. They start thinking things through because they start, their mind is clear. They've completed their detox, and they start thinking about the consequences of their actions. They also become go-getters. They set goals within recovery and they achieve it, and it's very beautiful to see. And as this starts to happen and the family starts to notice these changes, the family starts to develop a level of trust. Because remember, during addiction, the manipulation and the lying, trust was broken. The family stopped trusting the addict. And as they start acting more and more like the adult, trust starts to get repaired. They start to trust the adult, the recovering addict. And the recovering addict starts to become more reliable. When they say that they are sober, or when they say that they are recovering and they're not using the substance, the family can start believing them. So slowly, and I explain to the patient, when they leave Stabilis, when they leave rehab, the family doesn't know who walks out. Is it still the child, or is it the adult? So slowly but surely, when the patient walks out, they're still going to go to the parent. I explain to them slowly, as you start showing them the characteristics of an adult, they will start slowly but surely treating you like one. But this, of course, it's a process. It doesn't happen just like this. It is a process that slowly the process goes through. Because many times the patients will say, when I leave Stabilis, I want my family to treat me like an adult. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen immediately. As I say, it is so this is just hopefully forms an understanding to why, or an understanding of the relationship between the addict and their loved ones, but also understanding the relationship between the recovering addict and their loved ones. How addiction destroys relationships, and where recovery rebuilds relationships. It brings people together. So yes, in order for them to understand this concept, I use the parent, the adult, and the child example, and this normally has a very big impact. But I also hope that it helped you understand the relationship and how it can be fixed and repaired during recovery. And yes, as I mentioned, it is a process, but it is one that is very more characteristics of an adult. And yes, as I said, I hope this creates more of an understanding. So yes, that is all from me today. If there's any more questions, or if you would like to have more clarity on what was discussed today, please feel free to contact us. I'll be more than happy to explain. If you are watching this video and it is way too familiar and you feel that maybe you are showing the characteristics of a child due to substance abuse, consider coming to Stabilis. Don't hesitate to contact us. We are here to help you and your family and help you to rebuild these relationships. The relationship might be damaged, but it doesn't mean that it can't be repaired. So yes, that's all from me today. Please remember to like all our social media platforms. We release a video like this every week, so please keep an eye out for our psychoeducational videos. And yes, you must have a lovely week further. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Have a lovely week further. Bye-bye.